All right, everyone. It looks like Trump and Netanyahu have sort of reached an internal handshake-style agreement on the Iran issue. And it's sort of like, I guess the idea is, hey, Trump is assuring them this. They will never get a nuclear weapon, don't worry. We'll enact some contingency if things get dicey over there. But you got to realize right now Iran is actually having anti-corruption protests against its sitting government. Apparently there was some fishy business going on, and there are wide-reaching protests at the moment, almost a de facto national shutdown, I suppose. And Trump has weighed in and said, oh yeah, we support it, they should bow before the will of the Iranian people. The standard U.S. State Department press release sort of thing. Now, on the first token, let me say, anytime the Israeli government has encouraged us to sort of dickwag after another country, it's not a great idea, because ultimately their government's smart. I'm sure Trump would admit to this. Their government is actually looking out for its own self-interest. Our government, meanwhile, looks out for the interests of people outside of the United States all the time. So when Israel says, hey, Saddam's got WMDs, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. It means that there's a good reason that they want Saddam gone. Probably related to the fact that he was pulling away from the Western sphere and might have gone rogue and, I don't know, joined with Gaddafi's movement, the idea of an African currency. Maybe the Middle East would have gotten involved. Who knows? But it's like with the Iraq War, when the Israeli government came to us and said, hey, you'll be greeted as liberators if you get involved. He's got WMDs, you'll be greeted as liberators, everything will be peachy keen, the world will be so much more peaceful. And, he was involved in 9/11 and all this other, and most of that was never true. There was a brief moment where the majority of Iraqis were like, okay, things are, I guess, better. And then Al-Qaeda shows up, and of course that quickly erodes and crumbles away. So yeah, sorry we burned out all your infrastructure. And now there are militants everywhere. Yeah, sorry about that. We'll stay here for the next 10 years and nation build. And it doesn't actually do anything. And then a country that was beginning to develop, of course, sank back into basically the Bronze Age outside of a few urban locations, which now have been bombed again, like Mosul, because of ISIS. It's a big problem. And so it makes me slightly nervous when Trump is doing this. Now, one part of me understands Trump is definitely, his ego would get in the way of him, I think, subjugating his own agenda to the agenda of any other state. But I've still seen no compelling evidence whatsoever that Iran has ever made a serious attempt to obtain an atomic weapon. Look, people, the Pentagon and the Israeli government and some of these other governments in the area have been warning since the mid-90s, oh, they're going to get an atomic weapon like next year. They're going to have nukes within 6 months. They could be weeks away from having, a missile that can go around the world 10 times. And they make all these wide, exaggerated claims, and they never actually come true. Meanwhile, those same government forces, they looked at North Korea and said, oh, don't take that threat too seriously. And now they have hydrogen bombs, apparently quite a few hydrogen bombs, and they're working on, as I predicted, the ability to put those in subs, idle them offshore, keep us from getting involved so they can reunify the peninsula under communism. That's the real problem in the world. But people ignored that for too long. For too long, DC was so fixated on the Middle East that it ignored problems in Asia. And so now everything over there became metastasized and cancerous. Now Trump has to get involved wisely, I think. Even Obama, I think, towards the end realized this and tried. He failed, but he was making an attempt, which I guess is good, maybe. But Trump's gone over there, and he's really focusing heavily on China, the Philippines, certainly South Korea and Japan, and doing a good job in so doing. And India is definitely the biggest one of all, in my opinion. As for Iran, I don't feel threatened by them. I can understand maybe the Israelis feeling threatened by them, but they've never actually, they've never stated an intent to gain an atomic weapon. Meanwhile, North Korea's like, we're going to get an A-bomb. We're definitely going to go for this. As soon as Bill Clinton gives them the uranium, they go whole hog wild with their weapons program. And they're like, we're going to get one soon. We're going to burn the great Satan United States down into the briny depths until it's nothing more than a big-ass crater filled with salt water. Iran, meanwhile, they're like, oh, America's the great Satan every time we talk about sanctions or embargoes. Otherwise, they've never threatened to, like, nuke us or anything. And they don't have the ability to anyway. It'd be harder for Iran by far to target anything that the United States possesses than it would North Korea. I believe that the missiles would have to fly indeed a little bit further, if I am correct. But I don't feel any compelling need to, like, go after the Iranians. And, if their protests continue, if they steamroll the government there, well, then I guess problem solved, because maybe a secular movement takes hold. Oh, wait, Uncle Sam might like that less and actually, do what it did in the 50s and decide to replace it with another hardline cleric. It's what we did before, and obviously that wasn't the greatest idea. It's nonstop revolution and counter-revolution fed. In the past by the grand chessboard US versus USSR and all of the major players within NATO and the Warsaw Pact, sort of. Now it's basically the United States, a tripolar situation, Russia and China sort of loosely combined at times. And then you have these other power players like Saudi Arabia and Iran. They're secondary powers, but no one wants to randomly screw with them because, your attrition would be fairly high even if you won. It would be a Pyrrhic victory. What's the point? But let me ask this to anyone who would support this, because I know even a lot of my subscribers, they are like, they're Republican or conservative, because I happen to support Trump. They think I'm conservative too, which is funny. Sometimes, or they say, well, he's not a real conservative. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. I've never called myself one. It's the funniest thing in the world to me. They're like, well, Iran could be a problem. Yes, of course they're seeking an atomic weapon, or they're a threat to U.S. interests. They call us names and, say violent things, and they fund Hezbollah. Okay, most of the attacks that you've seen, like in the United States, those are Sunni terrorists. They have nothing to do with Shia Islam as practiced by the vast majority of Iranians. The Iranian state controls the Shiite militias of the world. Most of them are paramilitary organizations. They're not the same as an ISIS. They really aren't. They carry out military maneuvers as sort of more organized militia groups in many cases. And they have parades. And they march around and oddly enough, like do the Sieg Heil salute sometimes. And I'm not exactly sure why. Because I don't speak, Jordanian or Lebanese or something. But I'm just not seeing why we should be fixated again on the Middle East and affairs there, like Saudi, and I know Iran's not technically part of the Middle East, it's Central Asia, but you understand, the Islamic world. Why are we fixated on that when we've got North Korea and possibly a collapse in this hemisphere, Venezuela, to worry about? Also, you got problems in Peru right now. You got problems certainly ongoing in Haiti that nobody even discusses. Puerto Rico, 50% of it apparently is still without power, and we're sitting there talking about Iran. I think it's sort of a boogeyman that the Republicans tend to bring up from time to time because they know that it helps keep the religious voters in check. Because Trump's not religious, so maybe he's like, well, we need to throw them a bone. Let's talk badly about Iran a little bit here, and I'll drum up how much I love Israel, and then they'll vote for me because some of these people are Zionistic in nature. Which is fine, I guess, but right now, if they're undergoing protests, you want to leave that alone. The U.S. weighing in will just cause hey, they're the great Satan and they support the opposition opportunity. It'll be just like if we were to get further involved with Venezuela, Maduro will come out and say, the United States imperialist dogs, they want to take your oil, they want to take what money, what money supposedly you have left. They want to steal your food and throw your kids off bridges, so you've got to support socialism down here. Otherwise, if the opposition is controlled by the U.S., which, it's not true, but it gives them a talking point for propaganda purposes. And I think that the United States, the people here definitely need to be more aware, I think, that this happens on a regular basis. That's about all. Peace out.